Growing division between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has occurred over the war in Gaza, and Netanyahu has repeated his intention to send Israeli troops into the southern Gaza city of Rafah. More than 1 million Palestinians have taken refuge there. Mr. Biden says that an Israeli invasion of Rafah would cross a red line. For more on this, Brian Katulis joins me now. He's a senior fellow for U.S. foreign policy at the Middle East Institute. Brian, thank you for being with us. What does this red line that Biden has drawn really mean in this context?
He's voicing concerns that administration officials have had for weeks about the stated plans of Israel to go into Rafah. And their biggest concern is that they actually don't have a plan to protect Palestinian civilians who aren't members of Hamas or to deal with the humanitarian implications. And they base that on how previous operations have gone in northern and central Gaza. Vice President Kamala Harris met with Benny Gantz, a member of the War Cabinet, about a week or so ago, who came in from Israel and voiced these concerns. But what you're seeing is these becoming more pronounced as the situation for Palestinians grows more dire and there's more indications of famine growing in the Gaza Strip.
Evaluate for us what the state of the relationship is between Biden and Netanyahu, and is some of this for public consumption? Did Biden make the right call in that bear hug of Prime Minister Netanyahu in the early days, showing full, unrestricted support for Israel? Just give us a sense of how we're supposed to understand the nature of this relationship.
Well, we're into this war that's gone far longer than the United States had hoped. And I think whether or not it was the right call for Biden to embrace Netanyahu, it was a message that Biden sent to the Israeli public that we're going to back your self-defense against these threats, and not just the threat from Hamas, but as well as from Hezbollah on Israel's northern border and a whole network of groups that have targeted Israel that are backed by Iran. So I think right now what you're seeing is the start of a tactical shift in U.S. policy to try to shape the nature of Israeli operations moving forward. And then more importantly, to get Israel to answer the question of how does this end? When Biden went to Israel earlier in this conflict, he said one of our biggest mistakes we made in America after 9/11 was not having a clear plan in Iraq or Afghanistan. So I think what he's doing is trying to publicly voice things that have been said for essentially the last couple of months, and trying to get some results and to see if that provokes a debate inside of Israel as well.
And Brian, how do you read the recent efforts to deliver aid into these distressed areas? Is that there's obviously a crying need for it, but diplomatically,
right.
Is that going to help in any way in terms of the United States' ability to have leverage over either Israel or to gain partnership in the wider Middle East?
I first read it as a step that people are seeing how dire the situation is becoming for millions of Palestinians living in Gaza. And it's a complicated military operation because Hamas, quite frankly, hides behind the civilian population. So dropping aid from the air is not really efficient or optimal. It just shows how desperate the situation has become. But it's not nearly the amount of aid that could come in via the land borders that Israel itself could open up and inspect more quickly and freely. Add to that, President Biden has announced that the U.S. Navy military will be constructing a mobile port, if you will, to get more aid. So it just shows how bad the situation has gotten. And I think it further spotlights the concerns that the United States has and many other countries, including Israel's neighbors, about Israel not answering the question, okay, how do you define victory? How do you actually really more precisely say when this job is done? And then most importantly, what comes after this? And there's really not a clear answer coming from Israel right now.
Brian Katulis, senior fellow for U.S. foreign policy at the Middle East Institute. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.